Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to take a tour of the most complex, most powerful machine you will ever own, your own mind. We're going to build a toolkit together to really understand the secrets of how we think.
So let's just dive right in with the question that, sounds pretty simple, but it's really not. We're thinking all the time, every second of the day. But what is actually happening up there when we do it? Before we can even start thinking about upgrading our thinking, we've got to understand the fundamentals. What even is this mental process that we call thinking?
While in psychology, thinking isn't just some random stream of thoughts popping into your head. Nope. It's actually defined as a deliberate, organized, and goal-directed activity. It is the very core of all our cognitive processes. Think about it. Every single time you follow a recipe or plan out your day or try to tackle some tricky puzzle, you are engaging in this higher mental process. It's like this invisible engine that's driving all of our actions and decisions. Okay, so if thinking is a process, what are the raw materials it's working with? It turns out our thoughts are built from two really simple components. It all kind of boils down to two things: mental images, like the pictures in our mind's eye, and concepts, which are the mental categories we use to make sense of the world around us. And a mental image is just incredibly powerful. Just by looking at this drawing, your brain creates this representation of a sensory experience. You can almost feel what it's like to hang upside down from that tree. That right there, that's a mental image at work. Concepts, on the other hand, are like our brain's filing system. They're how we know that, say, an apple and a banana are both fruit, or that a chair and a table both belong to the category of furniture. They make our thinking so much more efficient, so we don't have to relearn what a dog is every single time we see a new one.
All right, now let's see how these building blocks come together to form one of our most essential cognitive tools: problem solving.
So here's the crucial point. Problem solving isn't just for complicated math equations. It's literally any thinking you do to get from point A, the problem, to point B, your goal. It could be fixing a bike or just planning a vacation. And we can tackle pretty much any problem with this clear four-step process. Let's take that vacation idea. First, you identify the real problem. You need a relaxing trip, and it has to be within a budget. Second, you plan your attack. Right? You research places, you set little sub-goals for booking flights and hotels. Third, you execute. You book it. And finally, you evaluate. Did you have a good time? Did you stay on budget? It's a framework you can use for everything. But, our minds do so much more than just solve problems that are already there. They can also invent entirely new ideas. And this is where our toolkit gets really, really powerful: creativity. Creative thinking actually uses two different modes. You've got convergent thinking, which is for problems with one right answer, like 3 + 3 = 6. But then you have divergent thinking, which is for those open-ended questions, like what are all the possible uses for a brick? This divergent thinking is the absolute heart of creativity, and you can actually practice it. Try this right now. Pick a common object, maybe a paperclip, and give yourself 2 minutes to list as many alternative uses for it as you possibly can. That simple little exercise trains your fluency, your flexibility, and your originality. I just love this quote from the creativity expert Edward de Bono. Sometimes the most creative thing you can do isn't to think harder, but to just start thinking from a completely different spot. Now, no toolkit is complete without a warning label. There are these common mental traps that can get in the way of effective thinking, and it's so important to know what they are. So the first trap is called the mental set. This is when we get stuck in a rut, just relying on a method that worked for us in the past, even when it's not the best solution right now. Think about Blockbuster Video. Their mental set was, people rent physical movies from a store. It worked for years. So when Netflix came along with this totally new model, Blockbuster couldn't break out of that old way of thinking. Their own past success became the enemy of innovation. Let's think about this question for a second. Your answer, whatever it is, perfectly illustrates our next common thinking trap. If you answered yes to that question, congratulations! You have successfully overcome functional fixedness. This is that mental block that keeps us from seeing a book as anything other than something to read. Seeing past an object's usual function, well, that's a hallmark of creative problem solving. It's how we turn everyday items into ingenious solutions. So, there you have it. You've now seen the building blocks of thought, the strategies for problem solving, the keys to creativity, and, yeah, the traps to avoid. You basically have the user manual for your own cognitive toolkit. So the only real question left is, what are you going to create with it?